Okay, we're going to do a gun show review or situation update. I used to do these back when there was panic buying, shortages, and stuff over the past few years. The whole gun show firearms thing is changed, and it always has changed. I think everyone knows for the past 8 years, every year, including last year, has set a record for gun purchases, and they go by the FBI background checks. Like when you buy a gun and they have to call in and that. This last Thanksgiving weekend, the Black Friday, they said it was another record of the number of firearms purchases or FBI background checks was off the charts. So people have been buying guns in record numbers for each year for, say, the past 4 or 5 years. It's kind of ungodly. There's a lot of firearms being purchased. So when you go to this show, and another thing I've noticed, gun shows have increased their admission fees. I remember, say, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, to go to the Greensboro show at the Coliseum. It was always $5 to get in the parking lot, so they're going to grab you. A lot of venues do not charge for parking. So there's $5 just to get there. They ain't going in. And I think it used to be like $6 or $8. Now it's up to like $12 for an admission to the show. So it's $17. It's a $20 bill just to get in. Okay? So that's gone up, and that's kind of universal. A lot of shows it was like that. $8, $7, $8. Now it's 10, 11 to go to the smaller shows also. So admissions have gone up. So the people running them are making more money. Now, I've noticed too the shows have gotten smaller. They're still frequent. You know, basically I can hit in my area within a reasonable driving distance 2 to 3 shows a month, all year long. Okay, that's within, say, a 1-hour drive. And the largest one close to me is Greensboro, and that's the one I went to last weekend. And it was because you either have Greensboro, Charlotte, Raleigh, or large shows. There's some out on the coast, which could get big, but it's too far of a drive for me. And I believe there's 1 or 2, I don't know if they're as large as Greensboro, out towards the western part of the state on the border of Tennessee. Or, you know, because it's about to cross the Virginia line, you're talking an hour, hour and a half drive, you can bump up into Virginia, because there are a lot of times the Greensboro show will attract a lot of people who live in Virginia to drive down to it. It's kind of how big it is. So you go down there, and what you find, I found a lot of dealers stop going to the gun shows. You still have the real large retailers who will have 10, 15 tables, just handguns, long guns. And the basic venue, what people are looking for is inexpensive handguns. Of course, AR-15 rifles, any gun show you go to around here, you can find about 100 of them out on a table. AR-15 style assault rifles. And the one weird thing is ammunition. Ammunition, I think, is hitting a glut. You used to find guys come in with the pallets of ammo in different calibers. I mean, have a huge area out there selling ammo. That's gone. Even one fella that usually has a pretty good amount of ammo, he wasn't at this show. There was one person that comes to the show, he must be local, that had a lot of assorted ammunition, a large display of it, you know. And then there was a bit of a problem with this last show also. So you're looking at ARs, shotguns, home defense, mostly home defense, self-defense, personal protection weapons are high, and ammo. So a lot of that goes on. And also with the sales and that, prices have decreased. That's another thing I noticed. I got this Taurus Slim on sale with sales tax and everything $214. Okay. I forget these retail close in, the high twos, 260, two something like that when they first come out. It was $199 on sale. And after I paid the sales tax, $214, brand new gun. AR-15s, I've heard say that if you catch a sale at the right place in that, you can get an AR-15 for just under $500 for something in the 490s. And that's not assembling a kit or nothing. That's a gun from a retail dealer with a warranty, the whole 9 yards, okay? ARs have dropped, and they're plentiful in common, at least around here. I know some states they're banned, but ARs, shotguns is another thing. All kinds of them, pump shotguns, shotguns with the bail handle, and they're very popular. A lot of people looking at them. And then handguns, of course, for personal protection of all assortments and sizes. The mill surplus stuff and the antique stuff, there's still some dealers that always come down there. Not a lot of activity, but like me, I go there. I don't really expect to buy anything. I just go and talk to the people that are interested in the same type of firearms I am, and wander around half a day and just talk to friends, dealers, and people interested in collecting guns. Basically more of a social event than a buying or have to go get something trip. And it was crowded. There was a large crowd, not as large as it used to be. There was a bunch of people come in there. There was a good crowd. But for a crowd that size, not so much buying. So it goes to tell you the economy isn't that good. And that's why you're seeing prices drop lower on more common guns. And the ammunition, I think the panic and the edge of stocking up has gone, because you don't see the large ammo dealers no more. And any of you that are online know I get advertisements, I get emails 2-3 times a week with all kinds of sales from every large online ammo dealer, which I purchased ammo from. And the prices are dropping down. It's cheaper to go buy a case of 1,000 rounds from like Centerfire Systems, Lucky Gunner, or even you go on AmmoSeek and they're all listed there. It's still cheaper to do that than go to the store and pay retail. Okay. The only thing is you pay your shipping charge, which could be anywhere from $30. Some places charge $45 for a case of ammo. But it still kind of balances out. You do a lot of shooting and you buy high volume, online or mail order is the way to go. So also we had another problem, which is probably going to kill the Greensboro gun show, is there was a break-in or a theft, which was pretty unusual. And the media here isn't really reporting much about it. It got very little news coverage. Between the gun show ran Saturday and Sunday, and from close at 5 o'clock on Saturday to when they opened the doors about Sunday, I think 7 a.m. they opened. By the one exit off to one side, there were 3 dealers that got hit. One was the ammunition guy. There was one guy and his wife that had a huge area of ammunition. There was a couple of these old fellows that had a whole bunch of AR-15s, and they did, I think, custom work and that. They're always in that same spot. And around him and going up the aisle for about 5 tables was a pawn shop that he basically had all handguns out there. And somehow somebody got in the building, didn't break anything, opened up the doors, and in the middle of the night took well over 35 assault rifles, probably from the one dealer, over 40 handguns, which means they cleaned out that fellow alongside of him. And then, of course, I'm just hearing rumors from the people at the show the next day. Something like $15,000 worth of ammunition or something, which was probably, they carted off everything because his tables were right by the door. So he just must have been loading a van or truck or something. They took a lot of stuff. And the difficult thing is nobody knows if somebody took 1 or 2 items. Everyone had to check their inventory. A lot of confusion, a lot of crazy stuff. But the tables and them dealers, they got hit primarily in the front. They weren't there Sunday. They were gone. The tables, everything. There was a huge wide open area. So the police must have just shut them down, or they couldn't go on because now they have half their inventory or majority of their inventory stolen, so there's an ongoing investigation. And it's been about a week and I haven't heard or seen anything on the news. But it's kind of frightening. It was a large amount of handguns and assault rifles and the ammunition to go with them gone in one shot. I really, we've had in this state 2 or 3 large burglaries where somebody will drive a truck through one of these rural gun shops and they just back a huge vehicle through the wall, smash the wall down in that, run in there, empty out the gun cases in the racks and then take off. And there have been 2 or 3 burglaries like this, and generally they usually catch the people that do it. This one here is very unusual. There was no damage to the building, doors, or anything. Somebody had to be inside the building and unlock it from the inside out in the middle of the night. So we'll see how this all turns out, but I can see where this is going to kill this gun show because I have set up a day gun show. And one of the things you do before you go there is you sign a statement or you pay for your table that totally takes all liability. In other words, the Coliseum or the people who rent the venue, you sign a sworn statement saying even though security is provided, security is locked up, they are not liable for any theft or loss of your property. So unless you got your own insurance policy, which a lot of people don't because it's extremely expensive, I think these dealers got hurt and hurt bad. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of the large dealers may not be coming back to this venue until they get some reassurance about security and stuff, and I'm going to put a damper on it. But if you want to buy a gun, and it's a popular one, like I said, certain brands of handguns, AR-15s, now is the time. And there's tons of sales on magazines, everything. I guess they were all ramping up where they thought there'd be a ban if certain people got elected, and that didn't happen, and I don't see any changes, severe changes to the gun laws, so it's a free-for-all. Now you're getting a backlash where they've been producing for years, and now inventories are going up and stuff's going dirt cheap. You still get good turnouts at the gun show, but with the economy and the uncertainty with political situations and that, don't see a lot of buying like I said, other than people still more or less buying for home defense and things like that. A lot of the confidence in law enforcement, and the crime rate in my area has gone up and in a lot of areas in the United States. So that will spur, people just looking to defend themselves, even spike more gun purchases. Well, that's my take on it. I don't want to bore you anymore. Okay.